In terms of text analysis, no one really blew me away. Yeah. But we're working on text analysis this week, so it should sort itself out. I found a very big problem with a lot of your work was your structure. Your structure was confusing, hard to follow. It's like you just had a lot of thoughts and put all of your thoughts out at once. It was like everything everywhere all at once. Instead of having some kind of structure to it. Those who did attempt a structure often attempted like having one paragraph for language, one paragraph for form, one paragraph for structure, but that's not a very intuitive way of doing it because it didn't take into account the overall text. And so there you especially lost marks in whether you understand meaning, context, and audience. Because you didn't explain it. You didn't... Yeah. So that's where you lost marks there. Also... Some of you kind of misunderstood who the audience is, and you had a very general audience. Some of you said that the audience is eccentric billionaires. Which is also quite wrong. The audience was not eccentric billionaires. We're talking about the one you guys did. When you guys are marking each other, you would have seen that, looked at the mark scheme and seen, okay, this makes sense. This is, this is where the struggle lies. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just warning you now. The internet's being very finicky. So if you ask us a question and we don't respond, it might be because we have a 5,000 ping sometimes. Okay. So I'm just warning you.
That's wonderful. You are rich on pings. I'm just looking for this quickly.
Oh yeah, Marinus, while you're busy searching for the thing, yeah. I want to tell you an interesting thing I decided to do this week.
Okay.
I watched a propaganda film.
You watched a propaganda film? That sounds great. What film did you watch?
And No. It was a Chinese one, and I found it so fun because you know how like we usually watch American movies and
Yeah.
everyone else is the bad guy and America's the good guy.
Yeah.
In that film, you know the evil empire music like that dum da da da, like the that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They portrayed America as an evil imperialist empire that rules the world. I mean, that is true, but whatever. It was so
Well, they're not
funny because
wrong. But yeah, that's very interesting. Did you have fun though?
it was a bit much because like my sense of realism was a bit skewed.
Uh,
Like the Chinese troops, because this is the Korean War. The Chinese troops were walking into like tank rounds and were just shrugging it off.
oh wow. And tell me, were you in any way influenced by the um
Although although it was a unique perspective and it was interesting to watch, I didn't feel myself like agreeing with any of their points. Besides the fact that they shouldn't be in Korea, United States. That's the only thing that like, that I could take away from the film is that they didn't want America to be in Korea.
okay. Um I don't know how to make this full screen though. Just give me a moment. How do you make Okay, let me try this again.
I am quite curious though. What are we doing for English today?
Text analysis. Sorry, this is just taking a moment to load everything. Okay. Open this on your devices. Join pd.com and your joining code. Well, actually, I can give you the link. That's probably easier. But you can join that. This is to try get some of you in the back to start participating because from marking your things, I am very worried that those who don't participate in class are going to do very badly. Except there was one person that I thought was doing quite well considering how they answered in class, and then was not doing so well in their assignment. By the way, if you guys have any questions on how I marked your assignment, why I said certain things, send me a message saying, I didn't understand why you said this thing, or what did you mean by this thing. A vague message like, how can I improve? I did comment on everyone's things, ways in which they can improve. Also, paying attention to lessons will help you improve. If I did not make comments, it was either that it was so bad there was nothing to comment on, or it was that
excuse me, sir.
yeah.
Where did you post the link? Because I don't see it anywhere.
In the AS English in the chat on Classroom on Discord. Should I do it on WhatsApp rather?
Yeah, because I tried accessing with my phone and it didn't work. Like it couldn't open up the Discord chat on the phone.
Okay, I sent it on WhatsApp. Okay, are we ready? Okay, well, actually, only 6 students have connected. Are there only 6 students?
Yeah, I'm trying to.
I'm still joining, sorry.
Why are you joining us?
Okay. I've got 9 students, so that's like pretty much a lot of people so far. So I'm gonna get going. You guys can still keep joining as we go, okay? Okay. So, what is text analysis? Anyone have any ideas?
Well, I don't want to say the obvious, but
It's the analysis of a text.
Oh my gosh, that is,
No.
that is so great. Like, I might actually, like...
how you. I want to say that it's how you interpret a text.
I would say breaking the text down.
Breaking the text down for what purpose?
And
Look, being able to look further into the text meaning and see
Deeper
any
meaning.
like hidden thoughts or processes that the writer has.
basically overthinking.
2 of you gave me a review of the text instead of talking about
I think it's breaking.
the text itself. Can you hear me?
I think it's breaking down the text to its core components and then analyzing the motive and the incentive for writing that text as well as who it's being written to.
Okay. So we've got the things we're looking at in this section are learning the core skills and approaches for analyzing a given text, and learning how detailed analysis can lead to an overview of tone and effect. Okay. So, what is effective analysis? Okay. So, I want you guys can write your responses in the thing. I want you to give me your ideas on what effective analysis is. What is involved in effective analysis?
How do we give you our answer? Do we just say like,
It's all here. I've got it.
okay,
If you've typed it out, I've got it. Okay, so I'm going to start with the people who are done. So someone said the ability to understand not only an author's intent, but also the words, how the words are used to make the reader feel a certain way. Okay? Yeah, I would add to that we also need to if we're going to say that, we also need to not just make the reader feel a certain way, but some texts want the reader to take some kind of action. And so we look at how language, form, and structure are used to do that. So in order to effectively analyze, let's see if someone else had something useful. Not that that wasn't useful. Okay, so someone said, going into depth when focusing on a point in the text, looking at purpose, proof, link, and an explanation so that the reader can understand your idea. Okay, so that is definitely a component, but I do want to say that you can't just spend the whole time going in depth. You also need to sometimes just have a bit more of a basic overview of the thing. And you need to link your going in depth to the bigger picture as well. Someone said when you go into depth and break down points from the text to elaborate what is trying to be put across. Okay. I get that. And that would be an exploration of the meaning. But on this note, I just want to say that some of you basically wrote me reviews. It was a review of the text. You were not reviewing the text and telling me that they did a good job. Okay? You are telling me what they did to achieve what. You can mention that they achieved their purpose, that it would have achieved their purpose or whatever. But literally, if your text analysis feels like a review, it's just like not quite what we're going for. Okay, there are a lot of factors, however, I feel as if analyzing core components of the text identifies the author or writer's statement. Potential contribution. Okay, I'm not totally sure what you mean by writer's statement, but potential contribution of other texts or works may have the potential contribution other works or texts may have had on the author, the way arguments meets their conclusions and analyze the choice of specific elements. Okay, so yes, there are a lot of components to be analyzed in a text. In order to be effective, you need to have a clear idea of what you're saying. Okay, can I just ask these? They are like little faces. Did you guys get to choose your little faces? Some people have no mouths, and some people have like smileys, and some people have like sad faces. Evaluating and discussing the hidden motives, thoughts, and purposes of writers made in their writing piece, understanding how the writer's choice of language affect the readers emotionally or through their thoughts, and going deeper into the motives and ideas. Okay, 2 people have deleted their responses. What's up?
Sorry, my internet on my phone just died. I think that might have been me.
No, it wasn't you. It was Kyle and Isabella.
No, the one you just read is my one. So the
Oh,
one
you've got
underneath
2.
that is just by mistake,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, then we've got... Oh, then it's doing it like that. Okay, effective analysis is a detailed breakdown of the different parts of a text, such as form, structure. Is that one yours, Isabella?
Wait, say again?
Effective analysis is a detailed breakdown of the different parts of a text, such as
Oh, no, I think it's the one. It's the one before that
Okay,
that you
cool.
read.
Form, structure, and language, audience, and purpose. It makes the text more easily understood. It isn't the same as a summary, as it brings out the implied things as well. Good. And then last one, the second last one I've got here. That certain way, being happy, sad, or anything in between. Dude, what's going on? Oh, that was your second one that you said. Okay, to feel... Okay, so you're just clarifying what you were saying about that certain way, feel a certain way, being happy, sad, or anything in between. Yeah, I see something people are still typing. You can keep typing, but I'm going to carry on with this. When you analyze the text, you focus closely on specific elements of it to examine how they work, both on their own, but also in terms of how they link to the overall effect of the text. Thus, if you were reading about a storm, you might explore a powerful phrase such as army of clouds, but also explore whether this phrase contributed to a more general way in which a writer might want to describe a storm at a battle. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but is this how we're gonna answer it, and is this how we're gonna write it when we do our exams?
Okay, wait. When you... Okay, so when you're writing your exam, you need to be focusing closely on the specific elements to examine how they work. Okay? But you need to do that in two ways. On their own, but also how they link to the overall effect of the text. That is what I'm requiring of you. So, this is an example. If you are reading about a storm, you might explore a powerful phrase such as army of clouds. But you're also going to look at how that phrase contributed to the overall text. And that's where a lot of you went wrong. You gave me like a short explanation. Instead of, like, you gave me a short explanation of the effect it has in that moment, but not how it fits into the whole. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so we just comment on what happened then, but we don't link that idea with the whole text.
Yes. Someone said an effective analysis is one that is detailed and focused on why the writer uses certain features and what effects it causes. It helps people understand the text better. Okay? I just want to say that we have a focus on how the text works. Okay. So after intensive readings, choose specific elements which best suit your narrative. Then examine and interpret these elements in a way that supports your point. Okay, the only problem with this is that it's like you're trying to come up with some kind of argument for this to follow. And it shouldn't be following some kind of argument. I really want to... Just give me a moment, let me see if I can do this. Okay. So after intensive readings, choose specific elements which best suit your narrative. Examine and interpret these elements in a way that supports your point. Cover its importance unless said importance makes rapid counterpoints. this seems like more of an argumentative essay. Discover the connections of points and manipulate said connections in order to invalidate disagreeable point. You would definitely do this in an argumentative essay, but not in a text analysis, okay? Cool. So in text analysis, you will need to identify distinctive features of the text and link them to its purpose and context. Comment on elements such as lexis, figurative language, wording, ordering, sentence structure, and formality or informality of tone. Explore how particular attitudes, bias, or prejudice are conveyed by the writer. So you can explore bias, but one person explored bias, they mentioned bias, and then went on to review the text. Whereas if you're going to mention bias, you need to say, how is this going to impact the way that the text comes across, and how is this bias achieved as well? So it's not about is there bias, but how is this bias conveyed by the writer? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Example time. Here's an example student response. The overall tone of the text is mournful. I'm sorry, my whatever this thing is, my slideshow is like kind of boring. I didn't make it pretty. I hate making slideshows pretty, so. The overall tone of the text is mournful and elegiac. Man remembering the death of a loved one some time ago. The opening two sentences are short, simple ones in the present tense, which express, okay, so you're saying they're short, simple ones in the present tense? Cool. Which express the finality of death. Like, literally, some of you, the best thing you could say, like, the only thing you could say about any point was, this keeps the attention of the reader. It was so basic, so limited, it had no depth. Okay. It expresses the finality of death. The first, she's gone, could be about any departure, but later in the text, the reader learns that the past tense gone refers to her passing away. Then the text shifts in time with the phrase, it was on a morning, so that the reader begins to realize that this is as much about memory as anything else. Okay, so we've got that. Now, our first activity is going to be which of the skills of text analysis listed has the student demonstrated in this opening paragraph. So remember we looked at these skills. These are our skills of text analysis. Tell me, in the version that you guys see, can you like move up?
No, we can't.
Okay, I'm gonna shift it to. Okay, you guys can go backward. Please don't go forwards. Go backwards to this one over here. In order to see which of the things they actually managed to do. I'm going to get myself some water. Yay, I have 3 answers. So, what do you guys think of this like lesson style with like answering in the slideshow?
It's a lot easier to answer.
Because I realize that a lot of you maybe just don't want to answer out loud, and you don't want people to know that it's you saying the thing.
Well, I'll say which one mine was. So you can roast me. I don't really have a problem.
No, I know
But
which
yes, you
one.
can
I know
understand.
which one is yours. Like I know on my side who's who.
I see.
So I'm like bobbing my head because I'm trying to take so many polls. And I suppose it's helpful to have all the things that I usually say be in visual form. Like where you can actually see what I'm talking about. Well, there are only 6 of you online for some reason, so I don't know where the rest of you are. I'm pretty sure there are more of you. Oh wait, Luca, Gabrielle, and Caitlin haven't responded. Okay, so let's. They're commenting on lexis, figurative language, sentence structure, word order, and formality, informality of tone, or formality or informality of tone. He identifies the tone of the text, okay? He realizes that it has a somber tone as it is talking about dead people. He identifies structure and shows what effect it has on the reader. She connected the words used to the way the author wished to demonstrate them, and through, it should be THROUGH. Otherwise, this means I through of all, through analysis, elaborated these points towards the audience. She broke down pathos of the text and the expression of both character and author in an emotional, some may say deep way. This was done through the clever points covered and the language and structure which caused him to express the previously mentioned emotion. An analysis also offered a unique look into the analyzer's perspective. Okay. The candidate provided a response including some individual elements of the text, such as the elaboration of "she's gone," as well as the shift and the effect that comes with it. The candidate has made use of mentioning tone as well. Okay, so you see, you all have pretty much similar things. So what we were looking for was just looking at these things. Did we do these things? So You spoke about this one. Yeah. Let's continue here. Student focus on the tone and how that effect gives the reader an emotional response to the text. And student talks about how the writer structures their sentences. Okay, I feel like I missed this one. I just want to say to the person who wrote this one, structure, if you put an apostrophe there, then something is belonging to the structure. Okay. Let's quickly look at this one. The candidate provided a response including some individual elements of the text, such as the elaboration of she's gone, as well as the shift and the effect that comes with it. The candidate has made use of mentioning tone as well. And then they use the second skill in the text and the fourth. So by that, the second skill, this one, and the fourth. So very good to the person who said that. Very brief, but you did understand the assignment. Okay, let's explore text. Oh my gosh, I'm not going to get through this. So now we're going to read the text. She's gone. She won't ever come back. It was on a morning just before Christmas, when everything felt exposed because of the leafless trees. Black lines were etched against the blue and green sky and field. The hedgerows were threadbare, but jittery with the chirp and wiggle of small birds. There was a choir of calls. There was a tinkle of running water, like many tiny bells in an underground stream. Small life, I thought. Further away, a copse. What is a copse? I don't know what a copse is. Was a jagged outcrop. Does anyone know what a copse is?
Yes, I'm so good at English. That's why I don't know what it is.
Well, I've got my tabs aren't going to help me do this right now. You guys can look it up just now. I'll also look it up. A row of trees with a line of camels climbing a hill. Then higher up on Mitchell's Fold, there was a cairn. Once, on a long walk stopping there, I had added a stone to the mound for her. I was far from home, and that cairn was far from her grave. In La Pérouse Cemetery, behind the blue stone wall between Ariapita Avenue and Trigueros Road in Port of Spain, where the sun would be beating down and the palms would be caught by the breeze off the sea in the Gulf. Okay, I'm going to move to these three questions are going to be for homework. So to what extent do you agree that the tone of the whole text is mournful and elegiac? Are there any words or phrases in the second paragraph of Scott's text that support this idea? Does anything contradict it or make this piece less mournful? Okay. Then, yeah.
How are we supposed to look at the questions? Are you going to post it on Google Classroom, or are you going to let us have access?
No, you can go into this link again. I'm going to turn it on to student paste, and you go into this link and you answer it here.
Okay, cool.
Okay. And then we've got What further uses of figurative language can you identify? Are there any repeated words or phrases? Look back to Unit 1.3 to remind yourself about figurative language. And then, in what way does the description of weather and landscape at the end of the second paragraph contrast with the opening of the first paragraph? So those 3 questions, and I'm going to put it on to turn on student paste. And I'm going to just post this task on Google Classroom quickly. Just so that nobody can tell me that they didn't know. Okay, cool. Bye guys, have a wonderful day. Okay.
Yeah, you too, sir. Goodbye.
Thank you. You too.